Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're all well and having a really great day so far. In today's video I'm doing a review of the NATASHA DENONA Mini Retro palette, and I'm also going to be creating 5 different looks with this. I've had this in my collection for a while and I really enjoy this colour story, especially for this time of year. So if you'd like to see how I created this look along with 4 others, then grab yourself a drink, subscribe if you haven't already, and keep on watching. This is the Mini Retro palette and it retails for £22 or $25 US. If you're familiar with NATASHA DENONA palettes, you will know that some of hers are very, very expensive. They can be over £100 or even £200. So a palette for £22 is actually quite reasonable considering the quality of the shadows that you are getting. For your money, you're getting 5 different shades. There's 2 mattes, 2 metallics and also a duochrome in here. The size of the pans are a bit smaller than some of her other palettes, but I don't mind this because I rarely hit pan on eyeshadows anyway, and I would much rather it be a more reasonable price point. I will swatch all of these for you so you can take a closer look at them. These are the Mini Retro shades swatched and I'm sure you'll agree they look absolutely stunning. The first shade here is Galactica, and this is possibly my favourite shade in the palette. It's a beautiful light nude with a blue-green reflect to it, and this is what I'm wearing on the inner corner of my eyes today. Really beautiful shade and it's a gorgeous topper. Next we have the shade Industrial, and this is a shade that is also in one of her £28 palettes. It's a gorgeous colour though. It's a green with a beautiful silver reflect, and in my opinion it can pull more grey than green on the eye, but a very interesting colour and I really enjoy it. The third shade is 60s and this is a beautiful greenish grey matte. This is a new shade though, so this is unique to the Mini Retro. The fourth shade is also a beautiful matte. This is Vintage Taupe and this is existing in her Tropic palette. It's a really beautiful rose colour. And last but not least we have the shade Pixie. This is a new shade for the Mini Retro palette. It's a beautiful pink metallic with a champagne shift to it. Now you've seen all the shades swatched, let's get into the 5 looks so you can see how they all look on the eye. So I'm starting with the shade Vintage Taupe and I'm just applying that to the crease using a fluffy brush. And I'm just lightly washing that all over the lid, but I'm building up more of the colour in the outer corner to add a bit more dimension to the eye. And I'm also going to take that same shade onto a pencil brush and just use it to smoke out the lower lash line. I'm then taking a clean fluffy brush and I'm just using that to blend out the edges so there's no harsh lines and just soften the eye look. And I'm then pressing on the shade Pixie, which is this beautiful pink shimmer with metallic reflect all over the lid, just to add a bit of sparkle. And to finish the look, I'm pressing the shade Galactica on top of Pixie just to intensify that shimmer. And I may even bring that down onto the inner corner just to brighten. For look number 2, I'm starting with the shade Vintage Taupe and I'm just applying that to the centre of the lid, just with the same fluffy brush that I used before. And I'm also going to take the same shade down onto the centre of the lower lash line. I'm then dipping into the shade Industrial and I'm using that to add a bit more definition to the inner corner and outer corner of the eye. So I'm not being too precise at this point, I'm just packing on the shade in the areas that I want it, and then I'll go in with a blender brush to blend those out into the first shade that we put down. And I'm also going to just lightly join those up at the top. Taking the shade down onto the lower lash line, I'm just following the same pattern that we've used on the lid. And just blend in with a fluffy brush. To soften out the edges. And I'm going back in with the shade Galactica just onto the lid, and that creates a really nice reflective shimmer, and I'm packing that over the vintage taupe shade, and that just really softens that look and pulls everything together. So I've just jumped off camera and thrown on some liner, mascara and lashes, and these are the finished looks for 1 and 2. I will zoom you in so you can take a closer look at the eyes. So starting with look number 1, I think this is a really pretty, everyday wearable, fresh look. It's not difficult to achieve this look, so if you were getting ready in the morning and you needed to do something quite quick with your eye makeup, you could quite easily throw this look together, and I think that pop of shimmer in the inner corner is really bringing the look to life. For look number 2, I'm really enjoying the contrast between the lighter shimmer shades on the middle of the lid and the darker shades in the outer and inner corners. I did decide to take the industrial shade all across the lower lash line, and I think that just sort of tidied up the look a bit more. But again, very easy look to achieve. I only used 3 shades, but I think it's very effective on the eye. For look number 3, I'm starting with the shade Pixie, and I'm just applying that all over my lid using my finger. I'm then taking the shade 60s, which is this khaki matte green, and I'm applying that to the outer corner, and I'm also going to take that along the lower lash line. Going back in with a clean blending brush, and I'm just going to blend out that darker matte shadow. Going back in with the Pixie shade, and I just want to add another layer to give that pink a bit more punch. But these are blending together really beautifully on the eye without much effort at all. For look number 4, I'm taking the shade 60s, and I'm just applying that to the crease with a fluffy brush, and I'm blending that all over the lid. And although this shadow looks like a khaki green in the pan, it definitely has a grey undertone to it. And the shade is definitely deep enough to be able to blend into a smoky or more grungy eye look. Taking the same shade again onto the lower lash line. And I'm going over the edges with a clean fluffy brush just to try and soften them and get a better blend. And I'm going to go in with the shade Industrial all over the lid, and this again looks quite green in the pan, but it's definitely got a grey undertone with like a silver reflect in it. It's a really beautiful shade. And I might even just deepen up this outer corner with the 60 shade just to add a bit more dimension to the eye. And I do feel like I want to go back in and add some of the Galactic shade into the inner corner. These are looks 3 and 4, just with mascara, liner and lashes applied, and I'll zoom you in so you can take a closer look. So for look number 3, this was a very simple eye look. I think that I only used 2 shades. I love the Pixie shade. I think that pink shimmery colour is so pretty on the lid, and I really like the sort of depth that the 60 shade is giving the outer corner. Really nice look, and I think that I'll be wearing that in the future. Look number 4 is definitely a lot more smoky, more grungy, and something that I might wear more in the evening time. But of course you can wear any look anytime, it's just what you feel comfortable in. I think that this inner corner shade, which I added later, this is the Galactic shade, just really gave it that pop, and it's just blended beautifully into the industrial shimmery shade that's on the lid. So for look number 5, I'm starting with Vintage Taupe, and I'm just putting that on the sort of middle part of the lid with a fluffy brush from Morphe. And I'm keeping it quite soft. I don't want it to be too dark. And on top of that pink, I'm patting in Pixie just to give that a really nice shimmer. And I'm actually working that a little bit further over towards the inner corner. For the very inner corner, I'm taking the shade Galactica and I'm blending that up onto the lid so it sort of merges into Pixie. I'm then taking the shade Industrial and I'm applying that to the outer third of the lid. Again, just using my finger to do that. And I'm going to finish this look by adding a bit of 60s, which is the matte shade, right into the outer corner just to add a bit of definition there. And also take that onto the lower lash line. Just blending that out with the fluffy brush so we can keep the eye look nice and soft. And this is the finished look for look number 5. I've used all of the shades in the palette for this look and I think that they all worked really well together. I didn't have to work too hard to blend them. I applied a lot of them with my fingers, so I think it's quite a forgiving palette, but the shades are beautiful, really, really good quality shadows. I like this eyeshadow look a lot. I think it's probably my favourite of the 5 looks and I think that it's really fresh. Definitely something that I would reach for in the springtime, but I could see myself, you know, using this palette all year round. This topper shade though, Galactica, is absolutely stunning and I think that you could use that with other eyeshadow palettes and get a really beautiful effect on the eye. So guys, those were my 5 looks for the Natasha Denona Mini Retro palette and I've really enjoyed using this today. I am glad that I've got this palette in my collection, and if you enjoy this type of colour story and a cool tone look, then I would recommend having a look at this and maybe picking it up. I think to get the Natasha Denona formula at £22 is a really good price point, and as we've seen with these 5 shadows you can create quite a few different looks. But that's everything for today's video and I really hope that you've enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more videos from me, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell because I would love to have you back and join our family. Thank you so much for watching guys, and I will see you on my next one. Enjoy the rest of your day.